Today we are going to see the unitary transformation part 2. In part 1 we have seen the basic properties of unitary transformation. Here we are going to see the infinitesimal unitary transformation and finite unitary transformation. After going through this lecture, if you find this useful, kindly subscribe, also share it and join it for the growth of my channel. So we will first continue the infinitesimal unitary transformation. Now we will see the infinitesimal small unitary transformation. Consider an operator U which depends on an infinitesimally small real parameter epsilon and which varies only slightly from the unitary operator I. Uh, that is U that is unitary operator u sub epsilon which is a function of g is equal to the unitary operator plus I epsilon times g, where g is called generator. uh, this u of u sub epsilon is unitary transformation only when the parameter epsilon is real and g is Hermitian. So there are two conditions. We are imposing two conditions. That is, epsilon must be real and g must be a Hermitian. This g also called generator of the infinitesimal transformation. So we will see the proof for this. That is, epsilon is real and g is Hermitian. Just now, I have made a statement. In order to the transformation to be unitary, epsilon must be a real number and g uh, is Hermitian operator. So, to prove this, you take u dagger. So it must be equal to identity operator as per definition of unitary transformation. So you know u is equal to I unitary operator plus I epsilon g, and similarly u dagger, this one u dagger is equal to I minus I epsilon g dagger. So here epsilon is real, so that's why I have just to put a minus. This minus will come, then you multiply the first term with the second bracket term, the first one I with this term. So I into I will naturally become I. I squared is I only. Then I into this second term. So which will become I epsilon g dagger minus, of course, minus I epsilon g dagger. And if you multiply this and this, you will get plus IEG. Of course, this identity operator, so we are ignoring this. Uh, then you multiply the second term here in the bracket and second term here in this bracket. So you will get epsilon into epsilon, epsilon squared. Since epsilon is a very small quantity, epsilon square is still smaller, so we can ignore. So naturally, this will become I plus 1 by epsilon g minus g dagger. This will become 0 only g is Hermitian. Then only g minus g dagger will become g minus g will be 0. So this will become identity operator. Here, as I said, the epsilon square term is ignored. That is that you have to keep it in your mind. Now I want to change the representation. How we are going to do it? See, let us take get psi prime, which is equal to this unitary operator. We have taken I plus I epsilon g as a unitary operator. When it act on get psi, you will get I into get psi only. Then plus IEG gets I. IEG gets I. Of course, we are going to see the application of this for translational and rotational symmetry. In the case of translational and rotational symmetry, the transformation of an operator A is given by A prime is equal to U. This is U. I plus I epsilon G A into U dagger. U dagger is I minus I epsilon G dagger. So now you take first term I is nothing but A only. Then I this minus you take second term I into A minus I G dagger. Then plus you take second one I epsilon G A I. Here this is. Similarly, next I epsilon G A this one into minus I epsilon G dagger. So this one. So just now we have seen A prime is equal to A plus IA into minus I epsilon G dagger plus IE G I epsilon G A I plus I epsilon G A minus uh, I epsilon G dagger. Now you just multiply this. IA is A only, so you can take IE outside. Um, IEA, because this is IE is a number, you can take back and forth. So I epsilon is a number, you can take it back and forth. So this will become I epsilon A G dagger. Similarly, this one will become plus I epsilon G A, because A into I unit operator. So this will become simply A. Then next, if we multiply I into minus I will become plus 1 epsilon square I epsilon into minus I epsilon will become plus epsilon squared. This is G A G dagger G A. This epsilon square term, as I said, since it's very small, we can ignore. Just take first three term. So this will become A. This you bring second one. So plus I epsilon G A minus I epsilon A G dagger. But G dagger is equal to G because it's a Hermitian. So we can write this GA minus AG is equal to the commutation of G with A. So we can rewrite the right hand side. A prime is approximately equal to A plus I epsilon commutation of G with A. If G commute with A, the unitary transformation will leave A unchanged. If it is G commit with A, the second term will become 0. So then A prime will be equal to A. Now we will see about the finite unitary transformations. We can construct a finite unitary transformation from UE, which is a function of G, which is equal to I plus I epsilon G, by performing a succession of infinitesimal transformation in step of epsilon. That is, first you transform it by epsilon, then you do it again repeatedly. Then it will be a finite one. From infinitesimal, small number of infinitesimal, you increase number of step. You first make a infinitesimal, then you repeat it again and again. And the application of a series of successive unitary transformation is equivalent to application of an single unitary transformation. That is very important. Denoting epsilon is equal to alpha over n, where n is an integer and alpha is a finite parameter. We can apply the same unitary transformation n times. N is a number of times that you are applying the infinitesimal transformation. So, in the limit n is tends to infinite, we obtain that is u alpha g is equal to, when limit n tends to infinite, and the product of k1 is equal to 1 to n is into 1 plus I alpha over n g can be written as limit n tends to 0, n tends to infinite, plus infinite. This can be written as 1 plus I alpha uh, g whole power n, where n is the n is the number of step integer. So this can be written as e power I alpha g. So we have found that for finite unitary transformation, and the unitary matrix U alpha, which is a function of G, is equal to e power plus I alpha G, where G is now the generator of finite transformation and alpha is its parameter, like what we have seen in the infinitesimal transformation, where epsilon is the parameter and g is the generator. Uh, Similarly, here alpha is the parameter and g is the generator. Uh, U is unitary only when parameter alpha is real and g is Hermitian, like infinitesimal transformation, where epsilon is real and g is Hermitian. We have seen that. Uh, so, e power I alpha g dagger is equal to e power minus I alpha g, which can be written as e power plus alpha g inverse. So, here u dagger is equal to u inverse, which is the characteristic of unitary transformation. If G commit with A, the unitary transformation will leave A unchanged. That is, you take A prime, which is equal to U A U dagger. That is epsilon I alpha G, e power I alpha G A into e power minus I alpha G. Since this uh, A and G commute, you can interchange the operator. You bring the operator A left. So this will become A into e power I alpha G into e power minus I alpha G. This will become 1. So this product of second and third term will become 1. So naturally this will be equal to A. That is A prime is equal to A. So as I said, if G commit with A, the unitary transformation will leave A unchanged. That is one of the important point.